Hello everybody and welcome back. Question 14 is the name of the game now. And what does question 14 say? For the graph of the function y equals 2x squared plus x minus 1 over x squared plus x minus 2. So this is a rational function. Which of the following statements are true? And as I look at the answers, they're all talking about asymptotes. So I might try and remember, well, what did we learn about rational functions and asymptotes? Okay, and the first thing that usually comes to mind is how to tell whether or not we have a horizontal asymptote. Those are limits at infinity and minus infinity. And we might remember from class, we can find those out by comparing degrees. Okay, if the degree of the top polynomial is the same as the degree of the bottom polynomial, you'll have a horizontal asymptote. If the degree of the top polynomial is less than the degree of the bottom polynomial, you'll have a horizontal asymptote, and it will quite specifically be y equals 0. Okay? If the degree of the top is bigger than the degree of the bottom, you don't have a horizontal asymptote. You can get what's called an oblique asymptote. We never talked about it. Don't worry about it. Okay? So that's the first thing that draws my eyes, is let's talk about the horizontal asymptotes. Okay? So, go over to our notepad. We'll copy this guy down. 2x squared. I think it was plus x minus 1, and then there was an x squared. Oh gosh, I don't remember. X squared plus x minus 2. Okay? The degree of the top is 2. The degree of the bottom is also 2. Great. What was it that we learned? So we've got a horizontal asymptote. Do we remember what it is? Yeah. You take the degree, the x to the particular degree of the polynomial, and the values in front. There's always a sneaky 1 if you don't have a value. The horizontal asymptote will be the top coefficient over the bottom coefficient. So 2 over 1, 2. So we have a horizontal asymptote. Y equals 2. Now, that's some good information. Does that help us at all with our answers here? Let's clean up a bit of this mess. All right, so reading through my possibilities, there's always the E, none of the above style answer. A, this graph has 2 vertical asymptotes and 1 horizontal asymptote. Well, the 1 horizontal asymptote is certainly true. X equals 3 is a vertical asymptote. I don't know that. I haven't talked about vertical asymptotes yet. Y equals 3 and Y equals 0 horizontal asymptotes. I know for a fact that's false. It's Y equals 2. And then D, there are no vertical asymptotes. Well, I don't know, again, about the vertical asymptotes. I just know about the horizontal ones. Okay, so we need to investigate a bit more. If it turns out there are vertical asymptotes, then D is wrong. If it turns out x equals 3 is not a vertical asymptote, then B will be wrong, and we might just be left with A. We'll see. How could all of these fail? You could have a vertical asymptote, just one, but not at x equals 3, and then the answer might be E. So we still have to move on and say, well, how do I find vertical asymptotes? And for a rational function, you find the vertical asymptotes by factoring the top and the bottom. And any roots for the bottom that are not also roots for the top are going to give you vertical asymptotes. We talked about this in class. So I'm going to factor both of these polynomials. If I need to find the roots really quickly, you can try and factor them in your head. You can also use the quadratic formula. I'm going to try to factor them. Hopefully won't fail in front of all my students here. 2x, so 2x and x, that gives me the 2x squared. 2x and this x, I'm inclined to believe this should be a plus 1 and a minus 1, because they'll multiply to be minus 1. Minus 1 times x plus 2x is going to be just x. So there we go. So our roots here are 1/2 and minus 1. Okay. X squared plus x minus 2. Well, let's factor that. X, I think it should be plus 2. X minus 1. Yep. So that has roots of minus 2 and 1. So 2 roots. None of the roots of the bottom are in common with the top polynomial. There's no overlap. If this were a -1, we'd have just one vertical asymptote, and these -1s would sort of create, we saw in class, sort of just a removable discontinuity almost. Just a little hiccup. A little point where it's not defined, because it'd be 0 over 0. But we don't have that. We do have two different roots, and they're not roots of the top as well. So that tells me two vertical asymptotes. We have one horizontal asymptote at y equals 2. We have vertical asymptotes at x is -2, x is 1. So, going back to our answers, we do have two vertical asymptotes. X equals 3 is not a vertical asymptote, but there definitely are some vertical asymptotes. Our answer in this case is going to be A. Right? Process of elimination. And so that was, question 14? Up next, question 15.